everyone, my name is Amber, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be telling you about the most intimidating books on my TBR. I'm only going to be showing you my physical books that I find intimidating just because there are a few ebook books that I do think are a bit intimidating to me. It's easier if I just show you the physical ones because I can ignore the ebooks, that's not a problem. I do think that most of the reasons that I find these books that I'm going to show you intimidating is because of the size of them. Being a booktuber and a book blogger, I do have quite a few books to get through each month, and because of that I tend to gravitate towards shorter books. But if a book is enormous like this, I do find it quite intimidating because I feel like it's going to take up a lot of my time when I could be reading other stuff, which isn't a very good mindset to have, I don't think. But at the same time, because I accept books for review as well, that means that I feel certain obligations to get through them, so often I won't pick up a larger book. So the first one I want to show you is one that I got for review actually quite a while ago now, and it's just so big. I know a couple of other people who have had problems reading it and they found it quite dense. Maddie, I'm looking at you. And that is XX by Ryan Hughes. This one is kind of a graphic novel mixed in with prose. It's told in mixed media format. So you've got like emails and presentations and all sorts in there. It does sound really, really good. I think it's about like first contact with aliens maybe. And I'm very, very intrigued, but it's just so huge. And I do think it's probably going to go through a bit faster than I think, just because some of it is like letters or graphics, but at the same time some of the pages are columns and it's really dense, so I don't know. I have mixed feelings about this one, but I do want to get to it at some point. I just find it very intimidating right now. The next one is one that I'm intimidated by because of the hype surrounding it. So I've actually already started this book. I started it about 5 years ago, I think, when the show came out. I read maybe 50 pages. I don't think I got very far with it. Oh no, I read 200 pages, so I did get quite far, but it's still quite a long book. So that is Cross Stitch, which is actually Outlander. It's the first book in the Outlander series. I'm intimidated by this one because it's got such a huge fan base. I did start watching the show, but I only watched like one episode because I decided I wanted to read the book first, and that just didn't happen. I do want to get to it eventually. I'm going to have to start again though, because I don't really remember much about it. I remember that the main character right at the beginning gets transported to like 16th, 17th century Scotland or something. 1743. I really enjoy time travel books and historical fiction, so I'm probably going to like this one. I think I just, like I said, am quite intimidated by it. The next one I'm intimidated by is another huge one, and it's another really popular one as well, and that is Gardens of the Moon. This is Quill's copy, which is why it's quite battered. This is the first book in the Malazan series. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. I've heard people say it all kinds of different ways. I have no idea what this one's about. He read it recently, Quill, and he said it was really, really good. It was really, really for him. He's read the first maybe 5 books in this series. He did say it's got some quite dense world building, so eventually I do want to read it. I just find it quite intimidating, firstly because of the size, secondly because of the kind of fan base, but also because I've heard that the world building is quite confusing. It takes a couple of books to really get a grip on it, so that's the reason I find this one intimidating. I normally don't really have many problems following world building, but I do prefer it to be kind of more simple. I'm not sure how I feel about the world building being kind of like spread out throughout the series, so yeah, that's why I find this one intimidating, but I do want to read it one day. The next one is actually a classic, like a real classic, and that is the Iliad by Homer. So I received this one for my birthday years ago after my friends and I all read The Song of Achilles, and we were obsessed with that book and the relationship between Achilles and Patroclus. So one of my friends bought me the Iliad for my birthday so I could read the source material. I'm intimidated by this one not because of the language, but because I'm not a huge fan of novels written in verse, and this is obviously an epic poem. So I don't know how I'm going to like this one. I think I will enjoy it, but I'm not entirely sure. So yeah, I find it intimidating just because it is an epic poem. I've had a quick flick through and it doesn't seem to be too difficult for me to read, which is good. I've read quite a few classical translations, although not to this kind of scale. So eventually I do want to read it, and I'm really grateful for my friend for buying me this lovely copy. I think it's stunning. The next ones I have to show you are actually all enormous, I think. Yeah, they're all really big ones. So one of the ones I want to mention is The Passage. This one is a vampire book, I think. I don't really know too much about it. I know that it was turned into a TV show, or is being turned into a TV show, and it's the first in a trilogy, and it's huge. So if all the books in this trilogy are this enormous, then we might have a problem. This book is nearly 1,000 pages, and I've heard that it's really, really good, and I'm thinking about reading it for a book project that I'm doing in probably towards the end of the year, so I'm kind of saving it for then. I do really, really want to try it though, because I've heard such good things about it. It says here that one of the main characters is a 6-year-old. Her mother thinks that she's the most important person in the whole world, and she is. Another character is on death row, and he doesn't think he could be in a worse place, but he's wrong. There's also an FBI agent who thinks something beyond imagination is coming, and Amy might be the only person who can stop it. So I'm very intrigued by this one, but also very intimidated, because do I have time for a 1,000-page novel? No, I do not. The writing is quite big though, so because the font is huge, huge, it might go by quite quickly. I kind of want to read this now, but I'm going to hold off until towards the end of the year. The next one is one that's quite controversial. I think I found this in a charity shop, and that's actually the only reason I want to read it, because I'm not really all that interested in the subject matter or in the relationship, and that is Gone with the Wind. So yeah, the only reason I really want to read this is firstly because I want to know what everyone's talking about, and also because I want to give it a good go, because I've gone ahead and bought it now. I think I found it for like 50p in a charity shop about 10 years ago when I first started book blogging. People always talk about the main characters, Scarlett and Rhett. I think Rhett is meant to be an arsehole and the relationship is awful. Not sure about Scarlett. I can't remember if people like her or not, but I just want to read it just out of curiosity, I think, and even if it does turn out to be awful, then at least I will have tried. But again, this one is really, really long and the font is tiny. This is also 1,000 pages, and the font is that font that's like emboldened that we get in classics. Yeah, don't love that, but maybe I will enjoy the book. We'll see. Then we have another classic, and this one I tried to read once. It's because I wanted to go and see the play on stage, and I couldn't get through it. I think I read about 40 pages and I didn't really understand what the plot was at the time, and that is Les Mis. So first of all, I don't like this edition. I don't like that the font is tiny in these Penguin Classic editions. Why don't they make the font bigger? It's probably because it's a freaking chunky book. So this one this one is 1,400 pages, roughly 1,300. And I have seen the stage play now, so I know the plot of it. And I have a feeling that Victor Hugo has included a lot of drivel that doesn't really need to be included in a story like this. So I don't know. I'm gonna give it a go eventually, just because I told my partner's dad that I would, and I can't back down now. But I don't think I'm going to read it anytime soon. It's just going to sit on my shelf until I decide to give it a go. But I did tab it up, and I had full intentions of reading like 50 pages a day. I just didn't do that. And then finally, the last book that I find quite intimidating is because it's an end of a series, and I struggle with series enders just because they never turn out to be that good. I get really invested in series and then I can never read the ending because I always worry that the author is going to mess it up, or I'm going to be really disappointed after investing all of this time in the series. So often I just don't bother finishing them. So I always read like right up to the very end and then I stop. So I've got a lot of final books in the series I have not read. I've actually got a video coming up about this because I have a problem, and in 2021 I do want to read or finish more series that I have already started. I have loads of final books on my shelf that I just have never picked up because they intimidate me. Look out for that video. But this one is one of my, or what was one of my all-time favorite series, and I was loving it. But I didn't read the final 3 books, I think, because let me just show you what it is first. It's Kingdom of Ash, the 6th or 7th book in the Throne of Glass series. So I've read up to and including Queen of Shadows, and I loved them. So I got Queen of Shadows, I think as an art copy just before it came out, or I think maybe Waterstones delivered it early, and then I smashed through it and did a review on it and I loved it. And then I took a massive long blogging break and I just didn't get around to reading Empire of Storms, and I wish I had, because I wanted to be involved in all of the hype surrounding this series like I was in the beginning. So the story with this one is that I didn't like Throne of Glass. Crown of Midnight was okay, but then I read Heir of Fire and I absolutely loved it, and the series got so much better with that one and with Queen of Shadows, and so I really should have carried on with it because I have a feeling I'm going to love the ending of this series. I have actually seen like no spoilers for this one, so thank you so much to the entire book community for not telling me how this ends, because I've got no idea. And I don't think it's particularly because I've stayed away from spoilers either. I think it's just because you guys have like kept your mouth shut, which is great. So yeah, this one intimidates me because, like I said, it's a series ender. It's also quite big, but I always fly through these books, so the size of this one doesn't really matter to me. I do think I'm going to do a full reread of this series though, and then vlog my experience as well. So the reread would be from the Assassin's Blade up to Queen of Shadows, and then Empire of Storms onwards would be whole new reads for me. And I don't know if I want to read Tower of Dawn. I probably should, so that I understand this a bit better, but I really hate Kale like so much. I despise him, so I don't know. I think I should. If you've read this series, please let me know in the comments below whether Tower of Dawn is like a necessity or not, because I figure it is, but I really don't want to read it. So yeah, I do want to read this book very soon. I'm probably going to do a full reread in the summer and vlog it for you, and then we can, I don't know, gush over it together. I really enjoy the series, so even though this one is intimidating, I do still want to read it very soon. So those are the most intimidating books that I have on my shelves. Let me know if you have any of these on yours, or what your most intimidating books are. Also tell me why you're not reading them, because I would love to know. Sometimes people don't read books because of the size of them, because of the subject matter. I don't really have any books that I am intimidated by due to the subject matter, apart from maybe some non-fiction books, but because I listen to those as audiobooks, they're less intimidating for me nowadays than they used to be. It's normally just the size or the fact that they are the endings to series that kind of gets to me. Thank you so much for watching this video. Like I said, let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are, and I'll speak to you all in the next one. Bye!